Sri Dakshinamurti Stotram by Bhagavan Sri Adi Shankaracharya. In the last few classes, we have first studied Sri Dakshinamurti as a deity, his form, and next, in the few dhyana slokas, meditation on Sri Dakshinamurti. Following that, we have started the study of the main stotram, which consists of 10 slokas. The last few classes we have done with the studied the first 5 slokas from the Mool Stotra. The first 3 slokas of the Stotra, it constituted the idea of Tattvamasi. In the first very sloka, it constituted the idea of in the Tattvamasi, Tat Tvam Asi. You are that, the Tvam, that you, the Jiva, Jivatma, that bhav is detailed given in the first very sloka. In the second sloka, we studied the part of the Tat, that is the Paramatman, that reality. In the third sloka, it came the Tattvamasi, that Jivatman and Paramatman, Jivan Brahman, one and the same. That idea came in the third sloka, Tattvamasi. In the fourth sloka, we have studied the wonderful metaphor, example of Nana Chidra Samanita Ghata. Like in a pot, there are many holes. Through that holes, within the pot, there is one candle or light source of light, and through that holes of the pot, the light is emanated outside, and through that it is illumining the whole world. So that idea, with the help of the diagram of Sri Ramana Maharshi, we studied the fourth sloka. Fifth sloka came about the ignorance of the people, those who doesn't know this truth of reality, that the inner that light, that is the source of everything, and outer manifestations are merely coming from that the original source. Those who doesn't know this truth, they think the outside manifestations alone to be true, and they do not or deny the inner source of light. That example was in the fifth sloka. It was given that in different forms, the inner truth or the I'll come to that sloka and will show that different people of without their proper understanding, they take the body or the sense organs or the outside to be true, and that or sometimes they even think there is shunya, there is nothing reality anywhere, and those wrong understandings which are due to the ignorance, that also is eradicated by the grace of Sri Dakshinamurti. So up to this we have done with the uh, fifth sloka, and here came the idea of the Sri Ramana Maharshi's diagram, where we can see that in the inside the lamp is there, and through that lamp, then the doorway, when sleep is by sleep the doorway is closed, then only the lamp alone shines and nothing is seen outside. But when the doorway is open, to number 5, that to Ahamkara and the dream sleep, the number 8, the middle chamber, and then in the waking state to the number 6, the sense organs, it comes to the outer courtyard of number 9 to the outer world, then everything is shining forth. But the source of all this light is within the 7th, that inner chamber, that the flame, that is the Chaitanya, that is Sri Dakshamurti or the Paramatma. That is the main source, only alone source of light, which shines forth to this Nana Chidra Ghata. Nana Chidras are these sense organs are different Chidras. When in Swapna or in the Jagrat state, it comes up and shines forth, and so this world is illuminated and manifested. So now today we'll come to the sixth sloka of Sri Dakshinamurti Stotra. We'll begin from there. In the sixth sloka, we'll see the idea of the sushupti, the state of sleep. Through that, the idea will be given. And then in the next sloka, in the seventh sloka, the idea of the dream sleep and the waking state that will be given. So first in the sixth sloka, the idea of sushupti, or the sleeping state, that is even given. We come to the sixth sloka now. राहु ग्रस्त दिवाकरे इंदु सदृश माया समाच्छादनात् सन्मात्रः करण उपसंहरतो यो अभूत सुषुप्तः पुमान्. There is saying, who remains as pure existence in the deep sleep caused by Maya's power, withdrawing the senses like the sun or moon covered during an eclipse. Next it comes Prag, Pragaswap, Pragaswapsam iti प्रबोध समये यह प्रत्यभिज्ञायते तस्मै श्री गुरुमूर्तये नमो idam Sri Dakshinamurtaye, who upon waking remembers, I slept, salutations unto him, Sri Dakshinamurti, in the form of my own teacher. Let us come to the explanations now. This is the idea given when the consciousness is present even in deep sleep. In the picture of Sri Ramana Maharshi, when the door of number 2 and number 3 will see, the door of sleep is number 2 and the doorway is the intellectual principle Mahat. So when the doorway is closed, it is a state of Sushupti. Then the flame alone is there, that number 1, and number 4 and number 7 will see. Number 4 is the ignorance of avidya, and number 7 is the inner chamber of causal body, Karana Sharira, during sleep. So this is the first chamber covered by avidya, ignorance, and in the Karana Sharira, in the state of Shruti. When the door of sleep is closed and nothing is missing in the Swapna state or Jagrat state, that state he is telling in this sloka. He is mentioning consciousness is present in deep sleep. How? The first line now. Rahu grasta divakar indu sadrishah maya samachhadanat. Rahu means we know that in the Bharatiya Purana stories are there to depict the idea of the eclipse, either solar eclipse or lunar eclipse, eclipse of sun or moon. It's said like a Rahu or Ketu. These demons, daityas, as it were, they devour the sun or moon, and then it again comes out from them for that period of time when the Rahu or Ketu devours them, either sun or moon, then the solar or lunar eclipse happens. So this story is will be given poetically. Like when Rahu, this planet, Grasta, when it is Rahu Grasta, sun or moon becomes Rahu Grasta under the sway of Rahu. Divakara, the sun, or Indu, the moon. Sadrisha, just like that, when they are covered by Rahu. Similarly, Samachhadanat, Achhadan, Achhadan is covering, Sama Achhadan is completely covered. Achhadan is covering, and Sama Achhadanat is fully covered, completely covered, nothing can be seen or anything outside. So completely covered by what? By the Maya, which is ignorance at the total samasti level. That Maya is covered. So because of the covering of Divakar and Hindu, sun and moon by Rahu, and similarly here the Jivatman, that is Jiva is covered by the duty of sleep and duty of the ignorance of Maya. So nothing can be seen. But it's still, but it is still there. It is said that in the second line it is given, San Matraha Karana Upasangharata Yo Abhut Sushuptaha Uman. What is the meaning? Will come. Yaha. Yaha means the one who, Abhut, who remains. Who remains? The Puman, the person. Who remains Sushuptaha. He remains sleeping in deep sleep. Why? Because the Karana, the sense organs, the five sense organs are the inner sense organs, Antakarana, the Gyanendriyas, and also the Antakarana, the Mon, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankara, inner sense organ. Antakarana Upasamharat, it withdraws. Because of withdrawal of that, it closes as it were. Upasamhar. Upasamhar means as it were, it withdraws, it closes down. San Matra. San Matra means Sat Matra. The pure existence alone remains. When it is everything else is closed, the sense organs by the door of sleep is closed and everything is closed, but one is still awake. Who is awake? The Sat Matra, Sat Chit Ananda, that Matra alone. San Matra means Sat Matra, that alone remains awake. But because there is a senses are not there and the outer world is not there, dream sleep is not there, the waking state is not there, nothing is there to see or detect or define or to be manifested. So nothing has been seen. And then the state, which is the state, remains. It is said, the prag asvaksam iti prabodha samay yah pratyabhinyayate. Prag asvaksam iti prabodha samaye yah pratyabhinyayate. It is coming here below the meaning. Will come and again come back to this sloka. प्राग अस्वात्सम इति प्रबोध समय यह प्रत्यभिज्ञायते. यह, the one who, that woman, that person who pratyabhignayati, who recognizes, who knows, who gets the knowledge of that. What? When he gets the knowledge, when he's sleeping, then he's not able to say that because there the karanas are not working that time. It is upasanghar, it has gone withdrawn. But when he wakes up, prabodha samay, at the time of waking up, he says that prang, before, after waking up, he says that before that, earlier I was aswapsam, I was sleeping that time. Then he can say that iti. When he wakes up, then he gets the knowledge and he says that I was sleeping and I slept nicely, I slept happily, and I did not know anything. This is the natural, we all say when we wake up. We say two things. I slept happily and I did not know anything. So you see, the I is still there when we are waking up. When we are sleeping, that time we are not able to say anything, to relate this experience to others. But when we wake up, because we were still there, that's why we know that experience. We say that I slept happily. So that shows that inferred that was still there in my sleeping state. That's why after waking up, I can tell others that I slept happily. But also the similar time, the same tone, I say that I did not know anything. I could not know anything, what was happening outside, anything. That shows that, but because the karanas, the sense organs, and antakarana, the mind, it was upasanghara, it was withdrawn. So there was nothing manifested outside, and nothing it was seen or shown which was happening outside. So in the same tone, we say two things. I slept happily, that I slept, I knew that truth that I was sleeping and I was sleeping happily. At the same time, I say also that I did not know anything because nothing was happening outside in the swapna or in the waking state. So this Tasmai Sri Guru Muttaye Nama Idam Sri Dakshina Muttaye, the one who remains as pure consciousness in deep sleep, and to that pure consciousness, that flame, the Chaitanya Jyoti, that am this salutation to him, and his Swarupa, his essence He is also in the form of my own Guru, and he is also form of Sri Dakshinamurti. He's the same Dakshinamurti. He is also my Guru, who is coming to awaken me, and he is also the same form of my own Swarupa. So this Prabodha Sama, it has this dual meaning here. That one who does recognizes at the time of waking up, that before I slept, but consciousness was always awake, it did not sleep. And this is very important one example in a case of refrigerator. We know in the refrigerator bulb is there. When we open the refrigerator, bulb switches on. And when we close the refrigerator, the mechanism is such the bulb switches off. And in the refrigerator, it is dark when the refrigerator is closed. But here, there is a difference with the refrigerator. Here, during the time of sushupti, when we sleep, though the door of sleep is closed, but inside the bulb or flame is not switched off. It is always awake, it is always lit up, it is always lightened up. That's why how we know the importance of that? Because when we wake up, we say that I slept nicely because I was awake that time. My Chaitanya Jyoti was still there, always awake. That's why after waking up, I could say that, relate that experience that I slept happily. But because there was nothing else to be seen, nothing else to be seen as drishya, nothing else to be experienced at that time by the karanas, by the sense organs. That's why I say that I did not know anything. That I did not know anything during sleep doesn't mean that I was not existing that time. I was still there. That's why I could say this much that I slept happily. So this is a difference with the example of the refrigerator. In refrigerator, when we close the door, the bulb inside switches off when it's closed. But here, though the door of the slip it is being closed, here number two, that the door of slip is closed, but the flame doesn't switch off, or the flame is not never extinguished. The flame of Chaitanya Jyoti is ever awakened, ever lit up. So that only we come to know that I was sleeping happily, but because the door of slippers closed, so the middle chamber of number 8 of that Swapna, or the outer chamber of number 9 of the outer courtyard of Sthula Sharira of the awake state, that is nothing to be experienced. So we say that I did not know anything. So this example we can see with the example of refrigerator, that bulb which is switched off in the refrigerator, it is like that our door of sleep which closes our mind. A mon buddhi chitta ankar, that is like a bulb which is illumined and we can say anything. But like when we close the refrigerator, the electricity is still on. So inside the refrigerator, the work of the refrigerator it becomes cold, everything, the all the whatever we kept vegetables kept in the refrigerator, it remains cold. So that it is still working. It's not that power is not cut. So similarly, this is the example here. Then when we close the door of sleep, number two, the power is not cut. This main power, this Chaitanya Jyoti is still there. It is always there. That only brings out that idea when we wake up later on, when we open again the door of the like a refrigerator, and we say that the everything in the refrigerator was cold. By closing a refrigerator, the refrigerator is still functioning and the vegetable doesn't get rotten. It still becomes fresh and cold. So similarly, we can say that I was sleeping happily, but we cannot say that because outside nothing was there to be experienced because the karanas was upasanghara, it was withdrawn. We say I did not know anything else. Only thing I knew that I was sleeping and I was sleeping happily. These are the only two experiences we can say during this time of Sushupti. That I was sleeping. I know that I was sleeping. I was there. This much I know. And in the sleeping experience, I was sleeping happily because the Satchit Ananda Sun Matra is there. That is a source of happiness. That's why nobody sleeps that any sadly or any bad state. The Sushupti, every person, whoever is sad in any circumstances in the waking state or in the Swapna, he says, good and bad dreams. But in a Sushupti, each and every person in the whole world, they always sleep happily. Sushupti is always a happy state because that is from comes from the Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Atma, that Satchitananda, Ananda Swarupa. That's why everybody sleeps happily and that is awake always. So everybody says that I was sleeping, that he knows that I was there. I was not there, nobody says that. Everybody says I was there. But because nothing could be experienced due to the door of sleep and the Karanas were not there, and the Karana Bhai Karana. So they say that I could not know anything. I slept so nicely, but I could not know the outside there was raining, there was no power cut, or there were mosquitoes, bites, and nothing. I did not know anything because the sense organs were not functioning that time. So here comes the sixth sloka where it says about that state of sushupti, where that Chaitanya Jyoti, that Srinivasa Jyotishnamurti is always awake, ever awake. Now we'll come to the seventh sloka, where he'll say about the same Chaitanya Jyoti is awake in the other states also. Now he'll relate in the Sushupti, after the Sushupti state, now come to the dream state, Swapna, and also the Jagrat state, in the waking state. That will come in the seventh sloka. बाल्यादिष्वपि जग्रदादिषु तथा सर्वस्वस्थास्वपि व्यवृतस्वनुवर्तमानमहम् इति अन्तःस्फुरन्तं सदा. What he say? बाल्यादिषु अपि, बाल्य आदिषु अपि, जाग्रत आदिषु तथा सर्व सर्वस्व अवस्थासु अपि व्यवृत्तासु अनुवर्तमानम् अहम् इति अंतःस्फुरन्तं sada. What he's saying? He's saying that the self which manifests within as the ever-present sense of I that remains in every state of life and experience, every state of life. In Balya Adishu, in Balya when he's a child, that state, and also Jagrada when he's awake. So he's in Sarvasva Avasthasu, in all states of life. Is always there, that sense of I, that Aham, Iti, Spurantam. And how? He says that Swatmanam Prakati Karoti Bhajatam Yo Mudraya Bhadraya Tasmai Sri Guru Murtaye Nama Idam Sri Dakshina Murtaye. He's saying who reveals that the self, who reveals the self to his devotees, who reveals himself to his devotees by his auspicious gesture of wisdom. Salutations unto him, Sri Dakshinamurti, in the form of my own teacher. The self doesn't have any gender, it is not he or neither she, but just for the sake of expression, he is giving here he or sometimes she, but there is no gender for the self. The self alone exists. The self himself or herself or itself, whichever way we can express that, Chaitanya Jyoti, it expresses, reveals to devotees how by the gesture of wisdom, by his grace. It is only by its own grace that he reveals to others. In Kathopadishad is given that Atmans can be known by whom the Atma himself does kripa, by his grace. Only to him the Atma is revealed. And salutation unto him, Sri Dakshinamurti, and he is also in the form of my own teacher and comes and reveals unto me. Now he says in the seventh sloka will come the state of that in the Jagrat or in the Swapna also, that I am that consciousness, Chaitanya Jyoti is there. All the states are only like a film, like we see film in the cinema hall, All different screen, it comes different colors and different persons. But the screen alone is there, the drashta alone is there, that is alone truth. That is saying, बाल्यादिष्वपि जाग्रदादिषु तथा सर्वस्व अवस्थासु अपि व्यवृत्यासु अनुवर्तमानम् aham iti antasfurantam sada. He's saying avastha, different avastha, the state of experiences. Which avastha he is giving one of few examples. Balyadishu, the state of childhood, etc. Childhood, then youth, and after then jara, an aged person, different states of manhood or person life, from the very childhood to the end of life. Api, and also in all those things, sarvasu, now still all the states, not only this states, any states which you can think, Jagra state, waking, or it's also the Swapna, dream state also, Api. It's telling them that Jagrat Adishu, waking state, etc. So Jagrat Adi means waking state and Adi means Swapna state, dream state. The other Sushupti state he has already mentioned in the earlier sloka, sixth sloka. So here is mentioned being the Jagrat state, waking, and the Swapna, the dream state. And in a person's waking life, from Bala, this is from childhood to the old age, all the youth, old age, and the whole, all the states of life is mentioning. He says the Vavritashu, in all these different states of experiences, in all these avastha, all these experiences, Vavritashu. These are the different states of experience. The same person, we in the dream, we see so many good and bad things. The same person, when waking state, we see also so many happenings in the life, and same person also in the sushupti. That time we also see what we see that I was just sleeping and I was sleeping happily. But we can narrate this experience only we can wake up. After waking up, we said that I was sleeping happily and there was nothing else to be known, so I did not know anything. So this anuvartamanam is always there, which is always there in all the states, the Jagrat, the Swapna, the Sushupti, or like in the Balyadishu, in the Jara, in the Yuva state. Like in Gita, it states, like a same person from childhood to old age is there, but the Dehi, the Atma, is ever present. Like a same person, when he daily he changes his old worn out clothes and takes up new clothes, and again next day again leaves the old cloth and takes up new clothes. Similarly, the same person returns to a different states again and again. He sleeps as a Sushupti state, then wakes up, waking state, Jagrat, then again dreams in the Swapna state, and also from the childhood he becomes the Jaragrasta, old age, in between he becomes youthful, Yuva. But Anuvartamanam in all these states, Anuvartamanam always present is who? The Aham, that I is there. This is not the I of ego. If it is because it's not only the eye of the ego, they stay in a state. Because when we're sleeping in the sushupti, that time this ego is not there. During sleeping time, we cannot say that I'm a man, I'm a woman, I'm a doctor, I'm an engineer. We cannot say anything. Sleeping state, only knowledge we have that I was there and I was sleeping happily. I did not know anything. In the waking state, we say so many things. I am a man, I'm a woman, I'm a doctor, engineer. Or in the swapna state, we see so many things, good and bad. We see so many dangerous things. We see animals and then so many things happening. But that time, in the sushupti, only I is there, which I is without bereft of any upadhis. So that is said anuvartamanam aham iti, that inner eye, which is not the eye of that aham. It is still an inner eye is there. That eye is there, anuvartamanam, in the state of all the states, in the Shushti, in the Swapna, in the Jagrat, in the Balya Avastha, in the Yuva Avastha, in the old age Avastha. That is Antaspuranam. That is always shining within. Antaspuranam. Within it is shining. That doesn't need to be put out, that I to telling you others and to express itself. Without expressing itself, it is always awake and always shining. Sada continually. All in the Sushti, in the Jagrat, in the Swapna. All the states is always shining fully. This state, he says that Swatmanam Prakati Karati Bhajatam Yo Mudraya Bhadraya. It's very important that this line Prakati Karoti. It is reveals, it is makes evident. Everybody of us know that I is there, I am present. Nobody in the whole world will say that I am not there. This is naturally evident to everybody. Each and every person will say, I am there. But what I am, that everybody has different ideas. Somebody will say, I am body. Somebody will say, I am this, I am that, I'm a doctor, I am a man, I'm a woman. My name is this, my name is that, different things. But I is self evident to each and everybody. Nobody ever denies his existence. Even a small child, when he wakes up, when he is in dream, even a small child, even a fool, even a mad person, even anybody. Why is always self-evident to everybody? Prakriti Karati evident. Swatmana, his own self. But here Prakriti Karati, another meaning is there. This I is always evident to everybody. But the inner meaning of I, that I am that I, who is also Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi, or Tattvamasi, you are that. You are not this small limited I. You are this great I, which one with the whole world. So idea, that idea of I, which is Antaspuranam Sada, that is not evident to everybody. This is the difference. Prakriti Karati means Svatmanin, Prakriti Karati is evident, shows that this smaller I is evident to everybody. That I am this, I am that, I am doctor, I am engineer, I am a man, I am a woman. All these I's, all this aham, is evident to each and everybody, from a small person to small boy, to the fool, to a mad person. Everybody is evident. But the greater I, or the inner I, which is Antaspuranam Sada, that Aham Brahmasmi, Tattvamasi, you are that, Prajnanam Brahma, Ayamatma Brahma. That is not self evident to everybody. Then how it will be evident to everybody, to anybody who's bhajatam, who's devoted to who? Devoted to Dakshinamurti, and who's by his grace, the one who, by his grace, who's Bhadram, who's auspicious, Satyam Shivam Sundam, auspicious Shiva, by his grace only. By his grace, what is his grace? By his mudra, symbol, gesture. Which is the symbol? We remember that Jnana Mudra. We remember in the very beginning of Dakshinamurti that through his Jnana Mudra, he is holding in his lower right hand, that he's touching his thumb and his index finger, and three other fingers are apart. Three other fingers apart means Sthula Sharira, Sushma Sharira, and Karana Sharira is apart, and the index finger, the Jivatman, and the thumb is Paramatman. There is like a closing in a circle form. This is one and the same. Jiva Brahmipa Napara. This is that mudra. This is that Jnana Mudra, Chin Mudra. So this we come to know that by auspicious, this auspicious Dakshinamurti Shiva, by who's devoted to him, who's Bhajatam, who's by his grace, we come to know that Prakatical, that's Atmanam, that Atman is being revealed to us. That Atman is Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. So this I we come to know, the Antaspuranam I, this I is not that lower I, not the Sthula I of I am man, I am woman, I am doctor, engineer, not this I. This is the I that I am Brahman. And the same with Ishvara, with the Paramatman. So that I, Antaspuranam always is that Tasmai Sri Guru Muttaye Namayidam Sri Dakshina Muttaye. He reveals unto us this true nature as a consciousness, Satchit Anandam, and is not separate. It's not separate from the absolute reality from the Brahman. And to him, to Dakshinamurti, who is also my Guru, to him I bow down. So this truth is Prakriti Karati by this Chin Mudra, by this Mudra. This experience was profound experience, Sri Ramana Maharshi, he had in his own life the story we know that he was one day at the age of 17. He was just wide awake that day without any disease, nothing. He was alone in his house. All of a sudden, a very fear of death entangled him. And he was thinking, he just felt that he was about to die. And nobody was in the house. And he didn't know how to call anybody or doctor. Nobody is there to help him. So he found out any way how to get rid of my death. That I'm dying now. I'm so much grieved with fear. He felt then he was just lying down. He was felt himself that I'm dying now. Then he felt who is dying. He felt my this body, my this external body, this number nine, this external body, the Sthula Sharira. This died. This it was almost like a log of wood, like a dead body is there without any movement. He felt himself. Then he thought that his senses, his sense organs at number six, the sense organs, the different gyanendriyas, then the mind, which is there. We can see here the number five. Number five is the ego, the ahankar. That is the ego is that ahankar is the normal I, which we know the prakriti karada swatman, which prabhada samay. We know that I was sleeping, or I'm a man, I'm a woman, I'm a doctor, I'm an engineer. This I. He was thinking that this I also, because with this death of this body, number nine, the Sula Sharira, there's a Sukshma Sharira, the number six, and the sense organs also are dying, and this ego, this external I, the big fat I, that will also die. Then he felt that which I never knew earlier, when all these things, Sthula Sharira, the Sushma Sharira, and inner this, the number seven, the ignorance, the Karana Sharira, the Avidya, that also was worn out. Then he felt that everything when has died, all these three Shariras has died, but still one eye is still there, which is that eye, that inner flame is there, that I am always there, the inner eye was coming out, Antaspuranam Sada. That time he came to know, when all things quite enough, the Sthula, Sushma, and Karanashida, he felt himself intuitively that I am not this outer self, this Ahamkara, ego, not this Sthula Shari, not this Sukshma, not this Karanashida. I is that Atman, that flame inside. I am that inner I, Antaspuranam Sada. I'm always, and Spuranam is happening. And that time there is Prakriti Karati, that is Svatmanam, that is by the grace of the self, he came to know this his own inner self. It's a great experience he had, and he proves this thing, his own experience, the truth of this Dakshinamurti Stotram, which Bhagavan Shankaracharya says, this idea. So this is the idea which is shown in this sloka, that we are in the Jagrat and the Swapna and the Sushupti state, or in the Balya state, or the Yuva state, or in the Aegis state, whichever state is the experience is happening, the Antaspuranam Sada, that all these states is pervaded by that Antaspuranam, that eye, inner eye, not the outer eye of Ahamkara, but the inner eye which is always there, and which is Prakriti Karati, which is become evident Swatmanam by the grace of that Dakshinamurti, by his Mudra, Chin Mudra, his silence. It happened also in case of this Ramanamachi with silence. Nobody was there to instruct him, but it's with silence, with Atman, the grace of Atman alone, Bhadra, the auspiciousness, his devotion, his grace, they came to know the truth. So this is the idea of that self ever evident in all the three states. So with this comes the end of the seventh sloka. Eighth sloka is a profound sloka, which will say about that idea of that Brahma Gyani, or the vision of Brahma Gyani. Once you know this thing, that Antaspuranam, that I am that, I am Brahman or Tattvamasi, that the state of Brahma Gyani, how he relates to the world, how he relates to the narrates of the world, how he acts in the world. This is after the experience, after you know the truth, you become one with Dakshinamurti. That state will come in the sloka 8. That is a profound, big sloka 8 and 9. I think we can carry on that in the next class. Today, 10 15 minutes are there. We can have some discussions over that ideas. And the eighth sloka we can carry on in the next class. So now, Nirmal, or any questions or any observations, ideas? Follow Nirmal.
Maharaj, so I have a question. So during the sleep state, the sushupti state or deep sleep state, the awareness also goes, isn't it? I mean, for a normal person, that I'm sleeping, that awareness also goes.
Yes,
But
yes.
then for a Brahma Gyan or for a self-realized person, does the awareness stay or it also goes for them?
It is said that for a Brahma Jnani, his awareness of that inner I, the antaspuranam, that I, inner awareness that I am there, which is given in this sloka, antaspurana sada, that inner I awareness never breaks away. For a Brahma Jnani, where he knows established in Brahman. Before that, a ignorant person, Swamiji says, when an ignorant person goes to sleep, he comes out as an ignorant person. But an ignorant person, when he goes to samadhi, he never comes an ignorant person, he becomes a Brahmajnani. So Swami Turiyanandaji, so Ramakrishna's direct disciple, he said that I also sleep, but I doesn't sleep like you, he said. আমি তোমাদের মতো ঘুমোই না অর্থাৎ when he sleeps during sleep also he is aware that it is I am sleeping, not I of the ahamkara. We saw in that picture of Sri Ramanama Shitti's picture that ahamkara, that number 5, it is outside the door of number 2, the slip. Number 3 is the Mahat Tattva where the manifestation happens, and 5 is the ego Ahamkara. So when the door of slip, Sushupti, is closed, so Ahamkara number 5 stays outside. So this is the state of everybody, every human being when we sleep. The state of Ahamkara is outside. So we are not aware of that I am a man, I am a woman, I am a doctor, engineer, nobody is aware. But the inner I, Antaspuram, that which is flame, it is always there for everybody. But an ignorant person doesn't know that inner that flame is there. He is not aware of that because he is covered by that ignorance of the number 4 and 7 is that number 4 is that ignorance of inner world, avidya, and the 7 is the causal body, karana sharira, that where he is sleeping. So a normal person doesn't is not aware that my flame is awake. Like in the refrigerator, we said earlier example, refrigerator, when we closing the door of the refrigerator, the bulb is switched off. Bulb is means that ahamkara, that number 5 is switched off. But the refrigerator which is connected to the power is not cut. Refrigerator is still awake, refrigerator is still on, it's still cold. So a normal person doesn't know about that, the flame. But a Brahma Gyan is like this Ramana, she said, Swami Turiyananji said, is aware that I, that flame is always there. So during sleep also, a Brahmagani, he knows that I am there. But that I is not that outer ahamkarami. That's not that outer I, the smaller I. There is the greater I, the inner self. He knows that I am there. That I is the drashta. I'm there, but there is no nothing drishya. That's the difference. There is no drishya
Yes, Maharaj.
to be seen.
And similarly, so our dreams and dreams of a self-realized person are different. I mean, during dream we know that we are there, and I mean, is it different for the realized persons? I mean, it should be, because as you say that that eternal self that they are, I mean, have awakened in them never fades away. So during all the three
Yes.
states that is there, so maybe in the dream also they feel a bit different than what we feel.
Ha. In the this is the number 8 is the dream state here. Number 8 is the middle chamber, subtle body, the sukshma shade in the dream state in this diagram. So that is a state of swapna. So that state, that time, that it is not the number 2 is sushupti is not fully closed, but number 6 is closed. Number 6 is the sense organs are closed. The Sthula Sharira, the Jagrat outer world is not there. So that is closed. But number 2 is open. So it's not in the state of Sushupti, but in the state of Swapna in the middle chamber, number 8, where the number 5, that Aham is there. So that Aham means Antakarana, Manobuddhi Chitta Ahankar, who is own Prarabdha, Samskaras of the waking state. He sees the dream. And he says so many things in the dream. We see good things, bad things, so many frightening things, happy things we say. See. But again, for a normal person, ignorant person, we forget during the dream time that flame. We do not remember the flame which is still in innermost recess. Number one, we do not remember that flame. But in the case of Brahmagyani, as Sri Ramanuja is saying, Sri is saying, they also see the dream by their own the prarabdha samskaras by Ishvara of Icha, will of Ishvara. But they're also aware of the flame which is in the innermost recess. They never forget that the flame. But normal person, we forget the flame. We are so much engrossed in the dream. Like we can see when we see in a cinema hall. In a cinema hall, we have seen a wonderful film, a very happy film, or very sad film, or very frightening horror film. A small child so much identifies himself with the film. When something very frightening movie is there, like year is coming, like today's 3D movie, something is happening, destruction happening, or ghost is coming. A small child in the cinema hall, he'll start crying. He'll thinking that the ghost is catching him or ghost is about to kill him. So much identifying with that. He's forgetting that this is only a show and something is different from himself. He thinks he's one of that. But a senior person who's very vigilant, the aged person, he'll know everything is a only a movie. It is a shadow on the wall. There's nothing. Whatever dinosaurs coming, Jurassic Park in the hall is not really coming to eat me. It's like just a shadow. I am different. Those things are different. Is aware of that. Similarly, a Brahman is always aware of that. Whatever I am seeing in the dream or in the waking state, good and bad experiences coming. People are happening, so many bad things happening in the world on dream state. Is aware all things a shadow. I am different from them. I am that only the flame, and everything is a shadow from that. But a small child, he'll forget in the dream in the cinema hall. He'll think that the dinosaur is coming to eat me, and similarly, a ignorant person will identify himself with the dream. That's why we become afraid in a dream, and in the waking state, we become so much sorrowful due to the or the happy due to the experiences. So this is a difference of an ignorant person and a Brahmagyani.
Okay, Maharaj, thank you.
Yes. অন্যরা কেউ কিছু বলবেন? আজকে সৌরভ এসেছেন, কিছু বলতে চাও?
আহ না মহারাজ, তেমন কিছু বলার নেই। অনেকদিন জয়েন করতে পারি না, তাই আজকে একটু সময় পেলাম, তাই আসলাম। বা অনেকদিন পর একটু ভাল
রবিবার তো
লাগলো
সময় পাওয়া যাচ্ছে।
আপনার আপনার লেকচার শুনে।
হ্যাঁ। তো আমাদের আজকে দুটো শ্লোক হলো, 6th and 7th, আর 8th 9th 10th আরো তিনটে শ্লোক বাকি আছে। আজকে মনে হয় আর সেটা সময় হবে না। আহ, আমরা কি এই গণেশ চতুর্থীর দিন ছুটি থাকবে কি মঙ্গলবার? সেদিন কি আমরা সকালে করতে পারি একটা?
মহারাজ, গণেশ চতুর্থীর দিন আমি থাকবো না, আমার এক বন্ধুর বাড়িতে পূজার জন্য যেতে হবে।
আচ্ছা, তাহলে 8 9 10 3 শ্লোকাস দেয়ার। তাহলে একটা কাজ করি, আজকে still 10 minutes are there. Only 8 sloka, the main that translation. This much we can study today.
হ্যাঁ
There
মহারাজ।
is a profound sloka. We can, if any more questions is not there from anybody else, we can just read the beginning of the 8th sloka today, because Sunday little time is there, and the next Sunday we'll try to complete it. This is a very profound sloka. This 8th sloka is saying that the idea is coming of the vision of Brahma Jnani. After you know this truth of Dakshinamurti, you are one with the Dakshinamurti. What is your world view now? How you relate to the world, how you narrate to the world? Like instead of ignorant person, Swami says, when an ignorant person goes to Samadhi, he comes out a Brahmagyani, is a sage, he comes out a sage, a rishi. So these are the vision of a rishi, how he sees the world at that time. So this is the 8th sloka says, Vishwam Pashyati Karya Karanataya Swami Sambandhatah Shishya Acharyataya Tathaiva Pitri Putradyatmana Bhedatah. So very, very profound idea of Brahman is given. In fact, this is which is a natural for a Brahmagani. This is our sadhana for every other sadhaka, for aspirant, because that is natural for them. And for us, for sadhana who is not Brahmagani, we have to this as a sadhana. Then only we can aspire to be Brahmagani, have that knowledge one day. So saying Vishwam Pashyati Karya Karanataya, who sees this universe, the Vishwam, he sees how the universe Pashyati, how as a Karya Karanataya. Karanataya, there's a cause and effect. He sees this universe as a cause and effect. How this cause and effect? He gives few examples of that. One is Swaswami Sambandhataha. Swaswami, his own Swami means his master, and he is then the servant. So himself as a servant and his master, Sambandha, the relationship between a master and his servant, Prabhu and Vritta. Another example is giving Shishya Acharya Taya, of the relationship between a disciple and his teacher. Tathaiva, another example, giving Putra Pitri Putradi, that is a father and son or mother and son. That way, Atmana Bhedatah. So this is the Atman himself, that I himself am dividing myself into two. It's a very, very profound statement. We can think of subjectively within own. Whatever we are seeing in the outer world, these are vision of a Brahmagani, but for us sadhakas, this is a sadhana. We have to see this world as a, we see in the world so many good things, bad things. Sometimes in a like an office, we are senior to somebody, again we are junior to somebody. Everywhere we are like that. Everywhere we are son to somebody, again we are you are husband to somebody, we are a wife to somebody, we are father to somebody, like this. Everybody is in relationship to another body, another person, asmad yusmad, I and you. So he says it is atmana bhedatah, is atma alone, that inner flame, not the outer ahamkara, but the inner flame which we saw in that photograph of Ramnamarshi diagram. So it is that inner eye is only dividing as it were into two: Swaswami, master servant, or teacher disciple, or in the father son, or like the child and parent. Like he's giving Swapne Jagrati Va Ya Esha Purusha Maya Paribhramitah. Whether he is in Swapna, one who sees all these different, the Atman is only the different forms of Atman. Atman only dividing the two, either in a Swapna, in the state of dream, or in a Jagrat. And Sushupti, we said, Sushupti, this differentiation is not there. Sushupti, this Ahamkara is not there. There is no differentiation in Sushupti. Sushupti, only I alone is there. But when we come out from Sushupti, when we say that I was sleeping nicely and there was nothing to be known, because differentiation is not in the Sushupti, but in Swapna and Jagrat, these two states, dream and waking state, va ya esha purusha maya paribrahmita, due to maya, this all this he sees all this differentiation of Atmana Vedata, myself alone is differentiated into two. This to differentiate the master servant or this acharya shishya or this child parent or senior junior, anyway, all the ways. So salutations unto him, Sri Dakshinamurti, in the form of my own teacher. My own teacher the form. So that way only he differentiates, and I salutations to him. So this is the very important for us for sadhana. This is how the Brahmagana sees the world. We need to act in the world like this. Always try to remember that is I who's acting in these good and bad ways. I who's acting in the senior, I who's acting in junior. I who's acting in the servant, I who's acting in the master. I who's the child, I who's my parent. I who's my servant, I who's my master. In whichever form in the life I am there. In the Swapna where I am seeing, and in the Jagrat where I am there. Vishwam Pashyati, the world sees, Bhedata differently, Atman as oneself. Himself is, it is only alone, he alone is there, nobody else is there. In reality, there is no two. There is no two Acharya Shishya. There is no two as parent or child. There is no two as master servant. That's why it is said that before that Shukdev to Shukdev, Janaka Raja Janaka said that first you give me Guru Dakshina. He said, why? Because once you know that you are Brahman, there won't be differentiation between the Guru and Sishya. That's why give Dakshina first beforehand. First we give to Dakshina and then I'll give you the Brahma Jnana. Because after having Brahma Jnana, you'll know there's no two different. The Shishya Acharya is everything Atmana Bheda things. You alone who are differentiating in these two forms. Atman definitely. There's a one is Karana and another is the Karya. One is cause, another effect. Parent is the cause and child is the effect. Master is the cause and the servant is the effect. Acharya is the cause and Shishya is the effect. But it is you alone, not the Ahamkara part, but the inner flame alone. The Antaspurana, you alone is these different things as was Swami, Master, Sambandha in his connections. Everything is connected through your inner flame. Shishya, Acharya, student teacher, Tathib also the Pitri, Putra, Adi, etc. He said, he says that in this Aham Brahmas, in this truth, saying that Swapne Jagrati Vaya Esha Purusha Maya Paribhrabitah. In Jagrati is waking state, or in Swapna in the dreaming state, to Maya only. Maya is the Brahma Shakti Abhe, the power of the inscrutable power. We cannot speak out of that power. That power of the Ishvara, the creative capacity of Ishvara, is Paribhramita. All this is projected. So it is projected, it is not a reality. When we see in the cinema hall, in the screen, in the white screen, so many things happening in the Jurassic Park or the dinosaur or somebody's killing, blood is coming out. But everything is projected. Nothing is really being killed. Nothing is really some dinosaur or nothing is killed, some murder is happening. Nothing is happening there. It is only light, different shades. Color of light is pouring down on the wall, white wall, and white wall appears to be red, appears to be persons, appears to be animals, but it's nothing. It's only shades of color and nothing else. So this is the Maya creative capacity which appears to be projected so many things different way, but in reality there is only the same single light, one light alone. That light is a flame. Tasmai Sri Guru Muttaya Navaidam Sri Dakshinamurtaya. That is the only Brahmagini alone. He sees oneself in all as a differentiating Atmana Bhedata, and he is in the form of my own Guru, and he also come in my as a Dakshinamurti. So is nobody else is there. So this is the in very short we said about that sloka of the eighth sloka, and later on will come in next day maybe a little bit more about uh, the guru word really comes used only for a person who gives imparts spiritual knowledge. Guru is the one who unfolds the knowledge that your whole which is non-separate from the Lord. In short, we did that eighth sloka today, and the next the day we'll do it in details and come to the ninth and last 10 slokas. Him, Bolum, Bolum.
One last question for today, Maharaj. So it's a bit out of context, but then when we were discussing about the near-death experience of Raman Maharshi, so when the body is shed off, I mean, a person dies, so all the pancha koshas are shed off, or some of the koshas are carried forward with the self in the later lives. I mean, it's a sort of.
For the normal person who's ignorant, who's not yet realized that I am Brahman, so identifying himself with the body. So the death is only the death of the sthula sharira. Death is not the death of the sukshma sharira. Death is not the death of the karama sharira. This is very important. When we say we is dying, no, for a normal person, for the ignorant person, but death is only death of sthula sharira, means annamaya kosha. All the four koshas, the sukshma sharira means the pranamaya kosha, the manamaya kosha, and the vijnanamaya kosha. These three are sukshma sharira. And the anandamaya kosha is the
Correct.
karana sharira. Ananda, that's why in the Sushruti we said that I slept happily. Nobody says that I slept sadly. That is anandamaya kosha. So when the death, all the four koshas are alive. Anandamaya kosha, karana sharira is alive. Sushma Sharira means the Vijnanamaya Kosha, the Manamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha is alive. With the your samskaras, your indriyas, still all alive. Only the Annamaya Kosha, the Sthula Sharira, that dies, that sheds off. And all the rest it goes to the Pitrijana, Devajan, whichever path according to our karma, we go and again we come back and Janma Mrityu Chakra happens again and again till we realize that I am not this koshas, I am not this shariras, I am that inner flame. Until we realize that when we know that I am this inner flame, that time only everything falls apart. In Upanishad is said, the Upanishad, for a Brahmagyanis prana doesn't leave. Generally we say for a human being, normal person, or pran tag korlo, deho tag korlo, that his prana left his body. But for a Brahmagyani, prana doesn't leave his body. Because where it will live? He knows that he is not prana, he is not that deha. He knows that I am that Atman, I am that flame. So prana dissolves there. Like a candle is extinguished when the part of the candle is there, the end part of candle, how it is extinguished, it itself is as it were dissolved there, that the flame dissolves and the candle, it finishes up the candle. Similarly for a brahmajani, so he doesn't leave his body to go to anywhere else, to utkramanti, that's the prana now utkramananti. His prana doesn't go anywhere else to Pitriyan Devadana, but it dissolves within. For a Brahmagani, all this Panchakosha and the three shariras dissolves, and he identifies himself with his flame. Either in the Jivan Mukta states, he before itself, while he was awake, while he was alive, he identifies himself as a Jivan Mukta. I am this self, this flame alone. Or during Vidaha Mukti, when he leaves his body, that time he knows that I am this self. I am no more this Panchakosha, no more this three shariras. Or for in case of Krama Mukti, there this doesn't happen. That he goes with his Sukshma Sharira, who is Ishta Loka, Brahma Loka. In the case of Krama Mukti, there in this Ishta Brahma Loka, whether Vaikuntha, Shiva Loka, or Ramakrishna Loka, there he stays with Ishta, carries on his sadhana, and in the Kalpanta, that time he dissolves in the Brahman. When the Kalpanta, then the Parabrahma, is Ishta from the Saguna Brahma to Nirguna Brahma, that time it dissolves. For them, there is Pranamamukti is there. For other from Brahma Gani here, it dissolves here and now itself, right now.
Thank you, Maharaj. Very nice explanation, Maharaj. Thank you.
So in very short, we did the 8 also. So next Sunday, then we can do again, maybe the 9th and 10th last, and a little bit part of 8th also explanation. তাহলে আর তো কারো কোনো প্রশ্ন বা আর তো কিছু নেই বোধহয়, অন্য যারা মায়েরা আছেন কেউ কিছু বলতে চান, নাহলে শেষ করবো। তাহলে তুমি ওই শ্লোকটা দিয়ে শেষ করবে, ওইটা পাঠ করে।
হ্যাঁ মহারাজ, শ্লোকটা দিয়ে উঠতে হবে।
হ্যাঁ, ব্রহ্মগানের শেষ শ্লোকটা দিয়ে শেষ করতে পারি, 8 নম্বর শ্লোকটা দিয়ে, আর কোনো প্রশ্ন না থাকলে।
হ্যাঁ মহারাজ।
So this is a sadhana for us. The Atmana Bhedata, we have to be, try to be aware of that. This forgetfulness itself is the Ajnana. Always try to remember that I am alone, differentiating in this two, this cause and effect in this world. This is world which we see experiencing. Then number 8, এটা পড়ো।
হ্যাঁ মহারাজ।
শেষ করো।
विश्वं पश्यति कार्यकारणतया।
विश्वं पश्यति कार्यकारणतया
स्वस्वामी सम्बन्धतः।
स्वस्वामी सम्बन्धतः
शिष्याचार्यतया तथैव।
शिष्य आचार्यतया तथैव
पितृपुत्राद्यात्मना भेदतः।
पितृपुत्राद्यात्मना भेदतः
स्वप्ने जागृति वा य एष।
स्वप्ने जागृति वा य एष
पुरुषो माया परिभ्रामितः।
पुरुषो माया परिभ्रामितः
तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदम्।
तस्मै श्री गुरुमूर्तये नमः इदम्।
श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये।
श्री दक्षिणामूर्तये।
ओम शांति
ओम शांति शांति
हरि
शांति। हरि
तत्सत्।
ओम तत्सत्।
श्री रामकृष्ण
श्री राम कृष्ण